Well, hello, my fabulous friends. I hope you're doing well. Well, this is a much requested video, and this is a video on clones. Now, we all know they can clone sheep. They've been able to do that for a while, and I'm sure other animals. I've seen pets that are cloned and whatnot. And some people with some ideas that they're actually cloning people. And I have some ideas about that. And, especially a lot of people are saying Catherine, Princess of Wales, is a clone. That's not really her. A lot of people say Biden is a clone. That's not really him. Now, what's the difference between a clone and a computer generated image or an AI? So, for example, if you only see somebody online, you only see them in video, and they're never around other people, like it's been suggested that Alex Jones is actually a Jason from Archaics actually pointed it out. Is he AI? Is he CGI? Is he computer generated? Is that really Alex Jones? So there's so much they can do with video now. And like if I was a politician, I'd be terrified because they can put your face on anything and say you're doing this to children or some such illegal activity. So anyways, now cloning is actually a person walking around and interacting with other human beings. All right. I actually have a bit of a theory about that, about the cloning, and I think it's kind of difficult. Like a lot of people say Catherine, Princess of Wales, is a clone. That's not really her. She died, and whatever the story is. Well, I'm sorry, you cannot get children to pretend like that. I'm sorry, you just can't. I mean, anybody who's had, children and you ask them to make a white lie, they get a weird look on their face and they go quiet and then try now and get 3 kids to lie about that. Like, I'm sorry. You just can't. Ask any teacher. So I don't think Catherine is a clone. Are other people clones? I don't know. Let's find out. So, what can the investigation deck tell us about clones in 2025? Like a lot of people think Biden has died, Putin is a clone. Ooh, crime of opportunity. I am safe now. Wrong direction. I wanted out. Aggressive attack. Okay. I think here with this wrong direction, I wanted out I'm going to say this is not really saying yes, there's clones. And with this wrong direction card here, I think it's not clones. I think it's fantastic masks. If you go on to YouTube, you can see a black man turn into an old white man, and you would never know. An old white man turning into a young man. I mean, obviously from the head up, and they even when they put the gloves on, so their hands look younger, or the black man and his hands now look white. You honestly would never know. Perhaps if you were actually like face to face, you might think that looks weird, but they're talking and moving around. And honestly, what they can do with masks now are actually scarier than CGI, to tell you the truth, because your eyes are deceiving you. But in real life, your intuition is binging off, right? So I think you're with this wrong direction. I want it out. I am safe now. I'm getting that they may have tried to clone, but it doesn't work. I want it out. I am safe now. Like you have to have a consciousness in there, right? How do you clone a consciousness? I don't know. Drugs, alcohol, or blood? Well, see, ask and it shall be answered. Drugs, alcohol, or blood? I think that has to do with blood. Put in a room or place. Perhaps they have some and they just haven't worked out. And so they're in, like, what do you do? Are these human beings now? Like, you think of all the implications of that. Not involved, unaware, I wanted out, tunnel or underground. Yeah, I think if they do have some, they are not viable, and I think they're, like, underground. I think they're in rooms. I think they think it's a crime of or of opportunity. I mean, it would be a great opportunity if we could clone people. You'd be able to create armies of workers, really. You would if you disagreed with somebody, you just off them and clone them, and nobody would know. Like, I think it's a crime of passion or desire. Yes, I think it only stems from crimes, right? And I think they are actually working on it. And if you look at all the female cards here, female, um, even the females on this one, I think they're working more with the females than the males right now. I think, for whatever reason, maybe they're looking at cloning females so that then the females can reproduce. Chariot, vehicle or moved. Vehicle or moved. I'm not getting a lot of stalker being watched. I'm look at that's the first male card that we have. I'm getting a lot that I think underground. I think they're working on it. I think they're working with females. I think that they are watching what happens, but I don't think they're quite there yet. I think they're having difficulties with I want it out. I think that, it's the consciousness. Like, how do you put somebody else's like maybe you can clone their body. Maybe you can. Let's say you can. Well, how do you put that person's sense of humor in there? How do you clone that? How do you clone their education that they have up until that point? How do you clone what their favorite TV show is? How do you clone, their reading and writing skills? Right? It's a big difference between cloning a sheep that just eats and poops and doesn't have, feelings and loves and whatnot, than to do a human being. Yeah, sheep are sentinel beings, of course they are, but I think that they're that's where they're kind of stuck. And I think they're working more on the females for whatever reason. Um, it was definitely a crime what they're doing. So perhaps some of that's the young girls that are disappearing, and they're being used for cloning purposes, and to create other sex slaves, perhaps. Stalker, check the timing. Check the timing. There is a connection. Missing piece. Yeah, they're missing something. Drugged or poisoned. So look at that's the second time. Temperance, life in balance. Yeah, that's the second time we've got drugged or poisoned. I think there is a missing piece here. I think there is a connection. I think that check the timing, I think, is a big one, saying they still haven't um perfected it, right? So, for example, let's take Catherine, right? Oh, the Princess of Wales. That's a clone. That's a clone. They had to, they clone her. Well, how do you put love for her children into there? When the children, they're just young, ask her, Mommy, can you make my favorite sandwich? How does she know what that child's favorite sandwich is? Like, there's just so much. Like, that's your consciousness. That's, how do you train that person to sign their name or know the alphabet or read? Like I said, it's one thing to create a robot. It's another thing to create a person, a clone a person. I think they're way far off on that. And I think that's what the check the timing is. Like, how um check the timing. Like, yeah, there's a connection. They're working on it, but they're missing pieces of it. And they're missing perhaps that's the drugs and that they're missing. Like perhaps they only live, 10 days, and maybe so they need some kind of, vitamin pill or some such thing. I think they're working on a lot of that, because here's the temperance, life and balance, and here to me with this is the life and balance. Like, what's the balance of this person? Who do they love? Why do they love? What about the people around them when they notice, something is off? Now, to make robots just to work, that's a different story, because you can train them to what they want, what you want them to do. They don't have to think, they don't have to love. I think they're working on the females to make female sex slaves. I really do. I think that's why they're working on them, especially here with this aggressive attack, crime of like it's they're making clones for criminal purposes. I honestly think that's what's going on now. In my mind, what we're seeing is not clones, but perhaps masks. Do you guys remember? I can't remember what it was. And Biden came out and he looked quite taller than normal. And people were wondering. And there's a lot of times Putin comes out and he's standing very far away from people. So you can't figure out the height. The height is what gives it away, right? So the person may look a lot like Putin, but they put on the mask and then they really look like Putin. But it's the height, right? All of a sudden somebody will know, oh my Lord, you're a lot taller than normal. I think that's what the difference is. And so when you see something like that happening and you see a leader and their height is off or they're not standing by a lot of people, so you can't compare it, and there's something in you that says that looks, I don't know, that's probably a mask. And if you don't believe me, Google masks under YouTube and you'll be shocked, absolutely shocked how real some of these silicone Hollywood masks look. Yeah, so that's it for clones. Now that's a lot different than CGIs. CGIs, you can make anything, well, AI, you make any kind of video about anybody. You can even you can just upload a picture of yourself. You can upload your voice, and then you put a script in, and they'll actually make a video of you talking this script, and it's in your voice, but it's all AI. It'll blow your mind, absolutely blow your mind. So some Alex Jones, is he CGI? Possibly. He looks a lot different, acts a lot different, says a lot of different things. So could the real Alex Jones be in hiding so they can't um, get him for the $1 billion lawsuit? Perhaps. All right, well, there you go. There's clones. They aren't quite there yet. And when they do make them, it's to make robo workers, whether that's legal or not. All right. Take good care. Thank you for spending this time with me. What do you think? You think there's clones? Do you think we talk to clones? See you online.